Hey everyone, it's been a little while since I did a POV video, but I broke my handheld camera rig and I'm just by myself today and I'm in the middle of doing a whole bunch of stuff. One of which includes bringing some of the animals, you stay in there, that I picked up from last year, basically from the beginning of October through the end of November. So these guys have cleared quarantine, no new boas, couple pythons and some colubrids. So I'm just going to kind of introduce you to what we decided to bring in. So to start things off with, this is a white oaks locality or morph, I guess. They're not really a morph. I guess they're really more of a locality or a phase of a gray rat snake. A gray rat snake is one of the most abundant rat snakes in North America. A lot of them end up kind of looking like this kind of gray, blotchy with the little saddles that they have on there. But as they get older, she is going to get more and more white. I have a male, although my records are saying that it's a female, so I'm going to need to double check that as I was updating the records and adding her to the main room feeding list and everything like that. Just because I got her as a pair, but now I might actually end up having two girls, so I'll need to get a boy at some point. And there she goes under there. But these, as I mentioned, she will slowly get more white and white till eventually the lighter color, I'm just going to move that. Sorry, I know you're mad. The whiter colors will be almost an actual white, and the black saddles will be much more light gray, almost closer to the color that the gray of her background is now. So she's going to look really, really nice. I love the white oaks gray rats. They're absolutely beautiful. Next up, we have this male moonshine rat. We'll move that hide a little bit so you can see him a little bit better. So the moonshine rat is a really, really cool and very interesting North American rat snake. Now, I talked a little bit about this more in detail on a really cool video a while ago, and I'll put the link for it right here. I'll have to go dig for it again. But the moonshine rat is a really interesting rat snake species. They're actually a natural intergrade or a hybrid that occurred in the wild, and it was found to be an actual hybrid of the gray rat snake and the yellow rat snake. They're really, really cool. And the moonshine is an actual, they found the founding male out and about in a very specific place. The guy who found it, he was very protective of the exact area where they were found, but he ended up proving out to be a very simple recessive morph. And moonshine, coming from the areas where this was found, harkening back to the days of, the moonshiners and stuff. As it gets older, he'll start to look much more impressive, and I'll include a picture of the original male or of an adult moonshine rat. This guy is essentially, essentially 3 generations down from that original male animal. So he looks really, really nice, and I'm greatly looking forward to watching him grow and change color. That's what's one of the really fun things about a lot of the rat snake species is as they get older, they start to turn into their more mature colorations, and it's always really fun to actually watch that happen. Try not to have too much shadow in this one. So this is the last of the colubrids. So essentially I'm bringing 6 snakes in total. There actually are more, but I've already introduced the other guys. The one's the Trans-Pecos rat snake. I'll probably just show very briefly. But I'm essentially bringing out 6, technically 7 snakes, introducing 6 to you guys today. So this is the other of the colubrids. This is a Calico Black Rat snake. Where are you going, little girl? So this is a female. Both this girl and that moonshine rat came from Med Exotics. Really cool people. Met with them. Hopefully they might be podcast guests one of these days. Now, everyone should probably knows about the black rat snakes. They're the very large eastern rat snakes. They are typically very dark. They usually have a little white underlip. They almost look like a poor man's northern white-lip python. And the calico is a morph of them. There are several other morphs out there like white-sided and albino and stuff like that. But the calicos are really cool. It's very similar to, like, say, the cow retics, where as they're born, they're kind of this more pinkish off-white color, and as they get older, they'll start to add more and more color. And again, I'll put an actual picture of an adult Calico Black Rat on here. So a while ago, and I know it's been a while, someone asked specifically if I could ever do a video on black rats. Where are you going, Cheshire? Here will eventually be the start of one of those, although I'm going to see if I can track down adult animals to show as a much more good visual representation of what these animals are actually like. Hopefully, not only both as calico, but adult regular black rat too. The Pantheropus obsoletus are absolutely amazing animals, and I can't wait for this girl to get some good size on her. She's already shed so much in just the couple months she's been in quarantine with me. And they're, baby rat snakes typically are very flighty. She's actually fairly calm, but this is literally taking them from their quarantine tubs, walking them across, and then bringing them into this building and then putting them in here. So they're a little flighty, but as you can see, she's calming down pretty well. Well, that being said, let's go show off some of the pythons. So forgive the dirty table. This is just kind of the table that I work on when I'm cleaning the babies because it's right next to my baby rack. But this little girl is going to be the start of a new recessive project that I'm going to work on with ball pythons. So I'm doing my best not to get too crazy into any more ball pythons and just really concentrating on kind of the similar stuff that I'm already working with. But I really like the dark ball pythons and, the light colors too. But I decided what I really want to try to make is a GHI lesser VPI axanthic. And I know a lot of people poo-poo on me because they want to try to keep axanthics as like kind of grayscale, black and white as possible. So a lot of people do like the fires and the pastels and stuff, but I want to try to make a really dark grayscale. And the GHI Mojaves and the GHI lessers were already very dark, and I really like the GHI Mojaves, and I really like the GHI lessers. So I picked this girl up from some good friends of mine, and she is actually a GHI double het VPI axanthic albino, so she's actually a GHI het snow. I don't do a whole lot with the albino stuff. I have one albino male. He's an albino pos het pied. I talked about him in a couple other videos about my last season's breeding season. He didn't prove out het pied, so I got a bunch of double het babies, and we have a pied het albino female, so the kind of polar opposite of what he is, that in another year and a half, she's a bit of a slow grower. We're going to try again one more time, and if nothing happens, then I don't know what we'll do. We might decide to let him go, or potentially I might try to do like a couple off seasons with her, and maybe do like GHI albinos that will be pos het anery, stuff like that. Although I don't really like to do mixing recessive morphs because they can retain sperm, and I've even had a retained clutch too. It was a split clutch, and it threw some really interesting babies to where once they grow out, and necessarily if I ended up proving them out to be what I think they might be, I may have actually gotten a split clutch of 3 fathers, 1 a sperm retention, and then 2 dads from that exact breeding season. So we'll have to see about that. But I very much look forward to doing stuff with her. Now I'm going to go forward and I'm going to find a lesser axanthic male, or I saw a really beautiful VPI axanthic leopard, and a leopard axanthic GHI might be really cool, and that will also be a very dark animal. So we'll have to see. Either way, regardless, sorry, my camera, it got really dark. I don't know what's going on with that. It got really dark. Sorry. But we'll have to see exactly what we do. Either way, I think I'll be mostly keeping visual or at least 100% anery ones to her, just to make sure I don't have any like really weird sperm retention stuff as we continue and go along. All right, so ball python people, you probably already know what this boy is, but this is a very nice, a very dark freeway male. There we go. Chester Sully. So as I said, I'm going to try not to get into too many other projects. My partner really loves the highways, specifically pastel highways. And we actually managed to produce those this year. We actually ended up even getting a super pastel highway and a banana pos pastel highway. And we're going to keep both of those, and we let the pastel highways that we had, we decided to let go. However, I don't like all of the different posts that say pos yellow belly, pos asphalt, pos gravel. I don't like that stuff. So what I've decided is we're going to let our single gene yellow bellies and single gene gravels and stuff go, and I'm going to try to only pair supers to where 99.9999% of the time I'm only going to know exactly what I'm going to get. If I pair a highway to an ivory, I'm going to get only ivories or highways. Theoretically, there is a very low possibility I can actually pop out a yellow belly or a gravel, but I mean, it's incontestably small, but it can happen. That I actually saw that pop up on a post a few months ago, people complaining and yelling at a very popular and well-known ball python breeder. And while I know for a fact that they produce ball pythons with so many genes that they don't know everything in there, that one isn't actually on them. So I defended them on that case. But in this case, this is a freeway male. I actually like the freeways more than the highways. And so the highways that we already have a couple of, those are the gravel yellow bellies. The freeway is an asphalt yellow belly. And so this guy is a very, very dark example of that. So as this guy further grows up, we might be pairing him off with our super pastel highway to hopefully produce pastel asphalts, pastel freeways, pastel highways, and then potentially pastel whatever the heck an asphalt gravel is. It's like a parking lot or a pavement or something like that. It's one of the little road things. One of the ball python people in the comments can yell at me, or if I remember to put it in here and or if I remember to look it up, I'll put it right here so that way I don't get yelled at. But all the ball python names they're hard for me to remember. But this is kind of my way of, I try to do things a little bit more conscientiously, with ball pythons. And so even though now there are actual genetic tests that we can do that somebody has gone out and developed where I can send in sheds and pay like $15 or $25 and actually tell you exactly if it's a yellow belly or a gravel or or asphalt or whatever, I think it would be better if I just produce ones that I'm 99.9999 whatever going to know exactly what they are every single time, and those morphs will be more desirable. This isn't necessarily me going to be like flooding the market with them by any means, because I still give my girls years off. I only do small amounts of them. I keep them in much larger containers. So I'm trying to be a little bit more conscientious when I come to a person who is breeding ball pythons, or as Bob Guerra from Ancient Reptiles is now very adequately and accurately started to call us our actual reptile farmers or ranchers. Being here on a ranch, it's a little bit more apt to kind of what I'm doing. That being said, I think this guy is an absolutely amazing pickup and find, and I greatly look forward to him growing up in the next couple years, and we'll be making some really cool either freeway, highway, or pavement parking lot things. Last and certainly not least, who this girl just wants to go, and I understand why, is this lovely 2022 female Angolan Python. So as you guys already know, I do have a pair of related, unfortunately, Angolan Pythons. When I initially purchased them, they were supposedly purchased as a unrelated pair, but she actually sold the female that was unrelated. So I ended up getting a brother and sister pair. So I've been sitting there searching for either another female or another male. And she is just going kind of crazy a little bit. So we're actually going to go pop her. She's going into a grow out rack. So I'm going to go move her really quick. So we can talk a little bit more about this. This is the new grow out rack that I got. They're 41 quarts. I actually don't really like these tubs. They are the solid gray variety, which doesn't allow for a good photo period, which I really like to give my animals. So had to pick these up. The old racks were kind of falling apart, but because they were custom made, it won't fit the standard Sterilite 41 quart opaque tubs. So now I get to slowly buy the Freedom Breeder clear plastic tubs with the larger, without the little cup holder thing, so I can give them a larger water bowl. But this little girl here, so now is a 2020, is unrelated to my, is a 2022, and my related pair is a 2020 pair. So essentially the only difference is she's got a couple years to grow. A lot of the Angolans are fairly closely related, but there are some ones that came from some zoo stock a while ago. And this girl is a little bit more unrelated, even more so than a lot of other people's. You're okay, I know, it's scary. She's actually very sweet and very nice. As you can see, she's wanted nothing to do with me this whole time, but she's just been running. So that's why I wanted to put her in here instead of stressing her out even more than this whole very stressful process to begin with. But with all that in mind, I am very, very, very much looking forward to being able to breed an unrelated pair. Nope, you guys stay in here. I'm sorry, little one. There's something kind of interesting about these Angolans is that sometimes they have really big heads and really small heads. They typically have very small heads, but every once in a while you get one with a much larger head. I'm not sure if that's influenced by anything else. I know they're not like ball python hybrids or anything. It just kind of happens sometimes. This girl has a little bit more of a broken pattern. It's a little bit more busy than my boy or my girl. So it'll be really fun to kind of put in this smaller headed one as well as a little bit more busy to my darker, bigger headed boy as they get a little bit older. I'm very much looking forward to this. She is a sweetheart, as you can see. She's just very stressed right now. She's very anxious. That's to be expected. So that's why I'm gonna do this fairly quickly. This is going much longer than I normally would. Ignore the poop that she just did. And I'm going to throw in a couple hides and some other stuff in here for her too, even though technically the hides are mildly superfluous. I know it does help. That's how I managed to have these animals in much larger rack systems than a lot of people normally would. But get back in there. So essentially now that I have 2 Angolan females, both of which I don't have names for, to be able to tell them visually until I get more accustomed to them, where I can just kind of look at them and go, oh yeah, no, this one's this, like I do with like my pair of fireball pythons, where I know, even though the boy is pretty close to same size, I just know the pattern and color a little bit just by memorization and familiarity. I'm going to call this one the sweet one and the other one the jerk face. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I get kind of rambly, but I do get excited about introducing these guys to you. I always try to keep it under wraps whenever I have something new that I pick up, because number one, my quarantine process is so long and a little bit intensive. Like this girl tested negative for Nido. So that's what we do here at Jay-Z's Reptiles. We always got to do our utmost for keeping these animals healthy and safe, and as well as the health and quality and safety of all the other animals in the collection. Again, ignore the poop. It's just going to be on frame this whole bloody time. But I'm always really excited to share this stuff with you guys. And this is coming up to be where potentially how successful we are at some of the shows. We're going to be starting the reptile show season. So I got to clear out the quarantine room for the animals that go to shows that need to go into quarantine for a couple weeks, as well as new acquisitions they'll be going to in a different quarantine room. So I wanted to get these guys out of there, as well as it's a nice little fun video for you guys to kind of see what we have going on. No, come back. If you guys want any updates, I tend to post about new acquisitions much sooner, usually relatively soon, as I get the animals up on Patreon. I put a link to that down below if you guys want heads up about early stuff that we're doing. I made a video at the beginning of the year that said I was potentially going to NERBC Arlington. Obviously that didn't happen just because of financial issues. I know right now everyone's struggling, especially myself, who's doing this full time, so I'm not really making any real money doing this right now. So depending on how successful we are with the shows, you know, you might be seeing me a whole lot later. I might be going to the Boise Show Me show coming up in a couple weeks. So I think when this video comes out, this will be the Saturday of the Loveland, Colorado Show Me show. And then so maybe next Saturday, I'll be coming out to Boise, Idaho. Again, mostly depending on how successful I am at the Loveland show, as well as if I end up getting accepted for the Utah Reptile Nation show. I have to talk to one of my business partners about that. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry about the little rambling. Just wanted to give you an update about things, as well as kind of just the general state of things going on. A little update about all the really fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the fun new little species content. Probably saw some stuff that you don't see every single day, excluding the 2 ball pythons, of course. But again, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry, it was a little bit shaky, a little kind of all over the place. There's a whole lot that I need to get done in a couple of days, gearing up for these shows. And so I'm doing this as quickly and still as nice as I can for you guys. So I'm going to clean up this poop from this little girl. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope everyone's having a great day. And if you are in the Colorado area, hopefully I look forward to seeing you guys while I was there in Loveland. This will be Saturday, so if you guys are watching on Saturday and you weren't able to make it out, maybe you can come out tomorrow for Sunday. And again, thank you all so much. Maybe I'll see you in Boise, Idaho, as well as the other shows that I'll be doing. Stay tuned for more reptile content, and have a great day.